Maplestory, a name that brings a shudder to most MMO veterans. Most can say that it was the jumping-on point for them, others just hate its very existence, and yet it's still going strong. I first played this game when I was about 15, 16, somewhere around there, and I liked it for a while. The quests just got unforgiving, though, sometimes requiring me to kill 9,999 of said monster, or collect 1,000 of an item that just never would drop. The rewards would barely be worth it for completing these quests, too. So after a good bit of time, I had stopped, and just decided to let my mage gather dust. For about 5 or so years, it was just no longer fun. During this time, though, Nexon, the company that spawned this horrible little growth on my butt, had been growing like mad, creating several new games in the process. One being Combat Arms, a free military shooter with some fun modes and something called The Nut Shot. Google it. A Mario Kart-esque game called Kart Racers, and Maganabi, a 3D MMORPG. Now, at that time, I had played most of them, for like a beaten addict, I always came crawling back for every new game they made. But, not long after they began hosting a fun little game called Vindictus, or Maganobi's Heroes, if you're playing the Korean version. And I loved it. It's not complete, there are only 3 of the 5 classes out, and I love every moment of the skull-crushing attacks. Now, as I played it, a Mr. Boswell informed me that my skipping of the openings, when I had sorely thought this game was going to suck, had caused me to look over the best part. It was made in the Source engine. That's right, Nexon hit up Valve. I filled my gamer pants with nothing but pure happiness. So after a while of horribly mangling the faces of many poor kobolds with the sharp and pointy side of my Valkyrie's boot, I wonder what had happened to my poor mage back on Maplestory. Maybe I should give in and install it, for old time's sake. So I did, and as I typed in my handle and logged into what I thought was going to be a new vest full of people with something to prove about their EPs, and should I disagree, I would be told about their false antics with my mother and maybe a barn animal or two. But no, I was greeted by a random player. Always a strange feeling, and as I opened my miscellaneous inventories and status screens, I was overjoyed to see a rebuilt talent tree with 37 spare points to max myself out with. This made my fire poison mage feel much less like he sucked, which he did. His puny little fire arrow was barely scratching any monster it came across unless it was made of ice. Nexon made me even happier, as I then noted that my fire arrow had gotten a great deal stronger, and could pierce multiple enemies. I was so overjoyed that I ran to the nearest ice area and rained flaming arrow death onto the native fauna, and within 10 minutes gained a level. I almost died from shock right there, as my experience bar had been only half full. And most veteran players of this game can tell you that going from 50% to 100% at level 37 was almost 3 days of work, if you're not power leveling, and here I just gained it in 10 minutes. At the time I had decided to mark this game for a review, so I exited out and hit the character creator. I had renewed vigor I had not felt in years fill me as I picked the newest set of classes for the Resistance. I created my little avatar known as Gomic and set forth for Maple's training island. But that's not where I started at. No, I started in a place called Edelstein, playing hide and seek with a group of kids. I didn't know what to do. What's this? Storyline? Cutscenes? I was flabbergasted and overjoyed. I progressed my way to my first class upgrade, the Mechanic, where a fellow dressed as a teddy bear, go figure, taught me how to summon my personal mech. What he didn't tell me is that from now on I'll be a mechanical god of death and fire. What you see now is my time leveling my mech, massacring everything with a Big Daddy drill, flamethrower, and Gatling gun. but nothing prepared me for the second-rank mechanic skills, as one of the passive bonus skills was to make my last skills twice as powerful and double the range of all my ranged attacks. This is the funnest class for me so far, but I have only tried so many, and have a few more to play with, so that may change. But for now, let's give this game a real score, and I don't mean the 7 to 10 scale that most people are used to. I go by the Angry Joe style, which means that it is the true 1 to 10 scale. Maplestory gets a 7 of 10, making it a great game. The quicker experience gains, the new storylines, all the classes, it was just nothing but fun. But the only real major downside, and something I didn't really talk about because it didn't really affect me too much, there's a lot of bugs in this game. Not in-game bugs, but bugs running it on certain systems. It still has some issues with Windows 7. But it can also get a little laggy from times. You know, it really needs to get a code monkey in there to start working with some of it. But for now, Nexon's flagship title has become quite the gem, and for those of you who have tried it and hated it back then, give it a retry. Trust me, it won't hurt this time around.
Game over.